Good evening and welcome to day 21 of the 100 Days of Shakespeare. Super excited to have you back. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're back again, then welcome back. My name's Paul Adams from Small Crown Productions. It's great to be sharing some tips and knowledge and bits and pieces around Shakespeare, his life, his work, and his times. So, if this is your first time here, there is a link in the description below that will take you to the Facebook group called 100 Days of Shakespeare, which is for the event. There is a bunch of information in there that's being shared, resources, all sorts of things. If you're digging into Shakespeare, it could be a very cool resource to tap into. It's free to access. It's definitely open while the 100 days are on. Just give it a click and make sure it's still alive once the 100 days are over. I'm pretty sure it will be. So we've been looking at poetry structure over the last few videos, and so if you want to have a look at those, there is also a link in the description to the playlist for all of the videos that I'm sharing as part of my contribution to the 100 Days of Shakespeare. But tonight I want to do a very, very quick video, just a real quick rundown on some of the phrases and words that Shakespeare is believed to have invented. So there is a lot of discussion around the words that Shakespeare invented, a lot of phrases that he put into his plays that up until that time, words and phrases that had not been used. Now, I will say, and I'll just flick over to the PowerPoint, if we can get that open, there it is. So tonight we're looking at words and phrases. So let's jump into the phrases first, and then I'll dig into a little bit of other information. So I've just thrown these as pairs up on the screen. Some of these you may have seen, some of these you may not be aware of. But again, just a really useful starting point to dig in a little bit further for some of your own research. So a laughing stock, first used in the Merry Wives of Windsor, or seen in the Merry Wives of Windsor. A sorry sight, something found in Macbeth. As dead as a doornail, from Henry VI. To be eaten out of house and home, used in Henry V Part 2. Henry V Part 2? I think that's a typo. Sorry about that. Fair play, used in The Tempest. I will wear my heart upon my sleeve. Very common phrase nowadays. So is the point of trying to find some of these phrases that are used pretty regularly these days. I'm in a pickle, in The Tempest. I'm in stitches in Twelfth Night, and hopefully that's how that play has you, if it's done well. Mum's the word. Neither here nor there. Now, obviously, these words were in existence, but the combination of them used in this way was new in Shakespeare's work. And now we get to the words. So again, some of the base words for these words were actually already used, like addict was already a word in use, but the word being adapted to addiction is attributed to something that Shakespeare did first. So the other side of it too is that there is some possibility that some of these words were actually already in use in Shakespeare's time, but these are classed as the first kind of noted citation of those words, the first believed recording of them written down. And so they get attributed to Shakespeare, even though some of them may not have actually been coined by him specifically. So some of these words, addiction, an arch villain. Again, arch and villain, common words. His magic was pulling these words together to give you a different sense of the word. Not just a villain, but an arch villain, an overriding villain that possibly has greater strength because of the strength of an arch, but also an arch that goes over something that's got more power than the other villains. Assassination. Obviously, an assassin was still a word in use at the time, but to use that word in this context, attributed to Shakespeare. Belongings. So again, to belong is a word that we find at least in the 14th century, but to put it in the context of you and your belongings, new for Shakespeare. To be cold-blooded. Again, just another We talk about the humours in one of the other videos, so definitely dig into that, because the blood is associated to a humour, which is associated with the personality of a person. If they're hot-blooded, they're choleric. Is it choleric? Can't remember. But check out that video on the humours, and that will describe to you, that will tell you a little bit about the effects of blood on personality and the way that it was viewed at this time. So to be cold-blooded was really playing against the humours, which I find fascinating. Eventful, again, event would have been a word, but to make something an eventful moment, a new concept. A ladybird, so lady and bird, two words that were in use, but then to put them together in this context gives you a different view of what this lady is like. Newfangled, great word, love that word, still use it today. And finally, uncomfortable. And this is a really great example of a lot of words that Shakespeare threw the word un, or the prefix un, in front of. So comfortable, a word very much in use. To apply the prefix of un to it was quite a common thing that he did. And so there's a lot of words that were changed and given the opposite meaning by him adding these prefixes to them. So there you go, a quick rundown of a bunch of words and phrases believed to be attributed to Shakespeare. And encourage you to go and dig further. There's supposedly over 400 words attributed to Shakespeare's creation, so definitely plenty to dig into. It would be fascinating. Here's a challenge for you. Drop a sentence or two in the comments below with words containing Shakespeare's creations. So challenge you to do that. If you know some other words that Shakespeare created that we didn't cover in this list, let us know about those in the comments below as well. That would be great. It'd be fantastic if you could give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, check out some of the other videos that will appear up here when I'm finished, and encourage you to have a bit of a look around and keep digging into Shakespeare, because there's a lot to learn and it's worth doing. Thanks very much. I'll see you on the next one.